technology to some extent just becomes magic. So we have this magical world that we live in, but more people than ever feel miserable. They see the richest people and the most beautiful and the most famous people, and they're comparing themselves to that. Farming is just like the most tangible way of just saying no to all of that noise. When you're trying to just grow stuff in soil and you're working with wind and water and sun and seeds and all the different elements of nature, there's nothing more real than that. So it really takes you down to the basic principles of what it is to be a human. Like you get to like really feel a weaving through all of history that you're connected to the same person that was doing this 10,000 years ago. As quickly. Yeah, but it's still, yeah. Yeah, cool. Yeah, it's been like the driest summer here in like 18 years. There's like a farmer I was talking to at the market this morning, and she said like, oh, we've never had this kind of dry weather. Yeah, we're doing a lot of soil prep this week, preparing for like getting plantings ready for next month in September. Yeah, I think it's like an 8-turn row, 2, 3. My name is Jordan MacPhee. I'm a farmer. I've been growing with my own farm, Maple Bloom Farm, for about 10 years now. And I've been working on farms since I was 20, so getting on 15 years. It's weird to even say that. I have a background in, I guess, some political work, some volunteer work with environmental groups, and also my education in philosophy, environmental studies, and my major in political science kind of led me in a strange way into farming. I kind of view as like farming as like a practice of philosophy and politics, but in a very like real tangential way. When I was in an environmental philosophy course in my first year or two, we toured different farms around PEI, from the large scale conventional kind of chemical farms to the smaller scale, more organic style that I'm practicing today. And we read books about how global agriculture is toxic on many levels, economically, chemically, and like sociologically to the people involved in the industry. And then the omnivore's dilemma also explored farmers who were practicing farming and agriculture in a way that was trying to heal those wounds being caused by conventional agriculture. So that really appealed to me, because I was like, oh, well, you know, if I have this impulse to try to live a more ethical and morally responsible life, but I don't want to be sitting in an office and just writing legislation or working for like an activist group. I actually want to see tangible results in my day-to-day experience. That's what called to me. Our part of like keeping the soil as a living organism is we don't focus on adding nutrients as like the main source of managing nutrients on the farm. Instead, we try to add life to the farm, and then they mine the nutrients out of the soil and the atmosphere for us. So I do a lot of like aerated compost tea, which is like I'm taking vermicompost that I make from like worms, night crawler worms, that are taking vegetative compost and turning it into like, you know, the best compost that money can buy. Like in that hand, I'm probably holding about a quadrillion organisms. If you actually feed them the right stuff though, it's not just about calories, it's not just about carbon. You're thinking about the whole soil life holistically, then you can actually create the ecosystem in which any plant will thrive. We can put buckwheat, lettuce, potatoes, tomatoes, peppers, everything is going to grow well because the soil life itself can respond. We don't have to sit in an office with a calculator for 3 months in the winter and figure out how much nitrogen salts do I have to order to keep this crop alive. All I have to think about is how do I get as much soil life as possible in the soil before I plant that crop. And it just makes it easy. Let nature take care of it. It's billions of years of evolution. Why would I try to replace that with 7 pounds of, you know, meat between my ears?
Welcome to the official opening of our new Cavendish Farms Lethbridge plant.
This is a great day for Alberta, a great day for Lethbridge, and a great day for agriculture. It is the culmination of years of transformation.
Cavendish is actually like the megacorp here. Cavendish buys the potatoes, processes the fries, but they also sell the fertilizer. They also spread the lime for the farmers. They give the farmer a contractual schedule on which they must spray pesticides and herbicides or fungicides, otherwise they will not buy those potatoes from them. Instead of waiting for the oats to naturally mature and get ready for harvest, they spray glyphosate on it a week before they harvest, coat the entire thing, and then you have 4-year-olds eating granola bars with glyphosate cooked into the oats. And those are like forever chemicals that are just floating in people's bodies. It's like such a shitty system. Yeah, like, I mean, it was originally developed to take magnesium scales off of factory machines, and then when they dumped an extra bucket in the backyard, they said, oh, that kills weeds. Let's put that on our food. Yeah, exactly. Why does a population of 150,000 people have a dedicated cancer ward when we used to just have like one in all of Atlantic Canada? Why do we have like 3 times the rate of cancer risk in Prince Edward Island? Well, we rely 100% on our groundwater for our drinking water. Even in the municipalities, they have their sanitation. But there are nitrates. If you look at the nitrate maps in Atlantic Canada, the South Shore is red with the amount of nitrates that are in that shore, because it's all the runoff.
Is 100% responsible for all of the pollution in the strait and all the pollution that hits like our neighboring provinces.
To a certain extent, I don't blame the farmer. If you're a 6th-generation potato farm, and 80 years ago, management decisions were made by your father or your grandfather that locked you into that vicious cycle of requiring those chemicals to make your living, you're stuck. Once we get to a tipping point where actually this food not only makes people feel ethically and morally better and more responsible, but it could be at financial parity, and then it can actually become cheaper because it's not driving as far of a distance. We're not having to spend thousands of dollars on chemical inputs. Like, I don't want to turn my 2-acre farm into a 200-acre farm. I want to see 100 more 2-acre farms. And then cooperatively we can work together and replace the other system. But in order for that to happen, the customers need to be there first. This generation in this pocket of time is taking everything from the future community. We're basically saying, oh, that future community, because they are not alive today, is an underclass. And I think if we thought of the future community as just the inheritors of what we're building today, and we remove that from our psyche, that, oh, they don't matter because they don't exist yet, then it's impossible to look at the people that are actually existing in your community today and also view them as an underclass. I think that's so much of like what all the political strife on every level is about, is just people thinking overclass, underclass terms. So that's really a guiding principle that I think really defines what it means to abide by the values we follow on the farm. It's just like we're trying to enhance the biotic community around us, because everything that we do in opposite of that is a detriment to the community at large. If you're in a situation where you've never met a farmer, or you've never thought of the face behind the food that you're eating other than the person who's stocking the shelves and cashing you out, like, just recognize that every single fruit today is picked by a human hand. Recognize there's a face behind every food item that you consume. Recognize that your choices in the grocery aisle or at a farmer's market have real world positive and negative consequences, but you get to make that choice 3 times a day, which system you're going to support. Everything we pass along to the next generation is our responsibility, and everything that we have that was passed along by the past generation, both the good and the bad, like, was their responsibility and, you know, their gift or their consequence to us that we have to now manage. So just try to make it a little better. And that's like what the process of building a community is supposed to be about.